Welcome to the next adventure. We've got the '04 F150. Story goes, there was a snowstorm in town, and the truck sat for 3 days covered in snow and ice. And at the end of those 3 days, when they went to defrost the vehicle, the windows stopped working, so none of them rolled down, and it seemed to be right afterwards. Since then, it was found that the master switch, I assume in the driver door, had been burnt up. Apparently, it was charred, and there were no detents, like no clickies for any of the switches. After that was replaced, the switch is now clicky clicky like they're supposed to clacky clacky, and the windows will still not roll down. I did ask before we got it. It does have a sunroof, and the customer said he has never had the vents cleaned, or the drains cleaned. I don't know if that's going to have any impact on where we're going for this issue, but if we have a whole bunch of moisture sitting on the car for a while, and then we have an issue right afterwards, naturally I'm inclined to think we got moisture intrusion somewheres. And one other thing he did say is at some point in time, I think after this issue, but I'm not sure, there was some under dash work, some HVAC work, and someone noted that there was dampness or wetness under passenger side of dash. Got those things to keep in our minds. We'll go walk around. We'll key her on, maybe. All right, we got her keyed on. I'm a little hesitant to hit these because we don't want to burn them up again, but we got to test it. So, no window, no window, no window, no window, nothing there. Make sure the doors are open. Go to the back door. Clicky clicky, no window rolly. I changed forget what they call it, stabilization on my camera, and it runs a little bit slower now, so I think I'm outrunning it. I have to calibrate. Right rear, clicky clicky, no rolly rolly. Passenger front, come on. Clicky clicky, no rolly rolly. At this point, we're just gonna grab the tool, the scanner. We'll plug in to the OBD2 port, see if we got any codes, see if we have any PID data, which we're going to pay a little bit closer attention to PID data this time, so we don't rerun the Chevy deal. But see if we find anything on the scan tool, and yep. We have our code list, nothing that I see has to do with Windows stuff. Got an intake runner, brake pedal circuit, some HVAC stuffs, and nothing else. So let's go through probably, I don't know which one of these. I'll figure out if one of these modules has some data in it. Well, if it wasn't already obvious, I failed art class in school, so we ignore that little squiggly line. But we got some basic wiring diagram stuffs to look at. Looks like everything comes from the central junction box. We've got this fuse 401 30 amp, comes on down to A. A comes down to our master window switch. And then after the master window switch, we come down to the rest of the other window switches. I also found this, which is for the power sliding rear switch. So for the backlight glass has a sliding motor in it. This also does not work when I hit the button. It does have a sunroof button. The sunroof opens and closes. This one does not. So I think our first step is just going to be probably going to this fuse. If we had a a melted connector. I believe this is our switch that was replaced. And if this old dude was melted, we've probably got a potential for a fuse issue here. So let's go check that out. Quick recap. Fuse 2.401 is what we're after, but this nomenclature doesn't really exist in a lot of places. But what I found is it's actually a circuit breaker. So they call it breaker 401 here on the actual fuse box cover. But if you go to a diagram, F2 401 is our breaker. If we run, I lied, we're not gonna run. We're gonna walk. Oh man, that was my knee on the running board. Anyway, that dude right there. This is our circuit breaker. Since we don't have the ability to really test this with it in there, I'm gonna pull it out. We're gonna get some breakout leads and run some wires to it and see where we got power coming to and from. If you know, you know. AES Wave coming in clutch with their breakouts. So we got test light. The other end of this is hooked up to ground. We just want to make sure we got power on both sides of this dude. We got power on that side. Can you see? Of course not. My hands are in the way. Why didn't you tell me my hands are in the way? Got power on that side. Power on that side. Yes, power on that side. So it looks like the next thing. Damn it, I said so. I think the next place we're going to go is driver door, either the harness or that switch. Pop that switch out. I also just ohmed this out. Obviously, we tested it just good right now, but I ohmed this out to make sure that it wasn't tripped, and it's not. We're moving over to the driver door next. I've been doing this video stuff by way of the pores for too long. Trying to figure out how in the world I was going to get a camera set up to do this, and I forgot I bought a whole tripod for this deal. Anyway, we're looking this wire coming into the main switch. It's a light blue and black. Out of all of these wires here, there is only one white, blue, and black that I see, and it's a big one, so I assume these big ones are our main power supplies. Oh yeah. There's no real module that this goes to. I'm sure you probably figured that out by now. But we got test light hooked up to ground. Gingerly. Just to make sure we got the right power wire. While you're watching that, I'm going to go over to the other side and I'm going to unplug that breaker again. And that test light should go out. I just want to make sure we're on the right girl there. She's wiggling. She's out. And the test light's out. Back in. Beautiful. All right. Well, at least know we got that circuit. I'd say at this point, we probably need to figure out if we have ground somewhere, because that one, let me see what I'm looking at. Of course not. That one power wire feeds most everything else. I suppose we could follow this down and along and test the switch, but I assume, what are these other ones? We got white and yellow, tan and light blue. Let's just pick one of those. Let's see if we got power going through the switch. So where's our white and yellow? There's a white and yellow. We have nothing coming out of the white and yellow. However, the white and yellow is for the gotta decode this real quick. White and yellow is coming out, looks like number 2 for the passenger. I guess we'll just hit the passenger button. Okay, so I had it. So I'm hitting the front passenger button. Can you see? Front passenger button. So that tells me high probability our switches are good. I'm now more curious about this ground. I'm going to have to figure out a way to jump power up here real quick so we can go on this black cable. It's like pin number 5. I'm going to see what our ground looks like. Well, you now have a little bit of power jumpered up here going to our test lot. And then whenever this test light finds a ground, I don't know if you can see this. So test light finds ground, test light lights, maybe. Come on. Yep, lights. And we're looking for this black wire. It's like pin 5 of a given connector. There's a 6-pin with a black wire. I can actually count the terminals. I want to make sure we got 2 others. Let me see what the other 2 on that one are. 7. So 5 is black, 7 is yellow and green. So nothing in 6, 7's yellow and green, and then 8 would be, I think, the one we already tested. It is. So this is our ground wire right here. Ooh, can you see that? Let me turn this off. So back to ground wire. Can you see? It's dim. It is dim. We have a dim ground. That's fun. Well, I reckon we should look through a couple of the connectors for this wire. Obviously, it's got to go somewhere through the door harness, and then wherever, after our door harness is reached, we've got a splice 502, we've got a ground 303. That's going to be our next steps. I'm going to probably check the door harness just because, it's probably a high failure place. And then we'll look at splice locations and ground locations. We have more conflicting service information, so that's always fun. We'll show you what we got. We got this connector is at the door switch. We've already been there. We've got this connector, 2095. This is at the door side of the door harness, so down there in the door jamb is going to be that old girl. When we come down here, this is the same connector as above. And when we go to 502, this says splice 502, wire and harness, body main 14A005, off screen. Wires terminate under right side of IP connector C524. So that's pretty useless, but when we actually click at the picture, there's a connector link picture for this, it shows this splice is actually somewhere like in this area in the door panel. So we will keep both of those in our mind. And then our ground 303 is left-hand side of A pillar. You probably noticed I got a couple of these panels already pulled up, and I can see, I could see, yeah, right here by the end of this lot, there's a couple ground eyelets that come in and bolt right to the A pillar at the bottom. So where I think we're probably going to go next, we're curious. The newer Fords have some door harness issues where they get water intrusion. This thing had water sitting on it or snow sitting on it for 3 days. I think next I'm going to go with this door harness and make sure we got a good ground on the, on the body side, and then see if this will point us to go into the door further or underneath the A pillar further. It's kind of a pain where this door harness goes through. On the inside of this A pillar, the parking brake bracket just covers the whole thing up. So if we have to go there, that's probably all going to have to get peeled off. But I'm going to see if I can't get that little door harness boot off and get into it with a connector, and we'll do our ground test there. I don't know how well you can see this, but we peeled back both sides of this door connector. See if I can get a light in here. And I see some previous repairs, it looks like, have been going on there. I don't know if you can see that very well. Here's a couple wires that look like they don't go to anything, and one is a did we just kill our power? So this one that I'm holding in my hand is a light blue and black. The other one's a black wire. If I go back to our diagram, light blue and black is our power wire. I wonder if we just lost power. I'm going to start dancing you around on my fancy tripod. It's actually not that fancy. It's really cheap. But I can move stuff. So if I just actually pulled on that the way I think I did, we should have lost our power feed to this wire, and let me be careful with these because these old girls are live. I'm gonna go this to ground, maybe. Come on. So we're just connect on the door thing there, and then when this finds power, it should light. Can you see anything? Where are you? So power, it lights, it does. We're gonna retest our light blue and black. We have no power to our light blue and black. I think that's our issue right there. Yeah, I just got to figure out how to dance you around. I just got to figure out a good way. Where's my hand? I'm going to figure out a good way to actually get in there and do that. This rubber boot is really in the way to make this repair easy. So I don't know what to do, but I may just run some longer wires. That might be a better fix. But we're going to strip that down, reconnect it like it's supposed to be, and see if that fixes our issue. I decided to go ahead and take the door panel off because I think this like over molded. I think I can slide it all the way through the rest of the door and get access to that harness. But when I pulled the door panel off, all of that black stuff fell out. I think it's the actual glue that has somehow turned to like a solid in some places. It just like flakes off. Anyway, we're going to try and snake that little rubber boot over top of it into the door and gain access to the actual harness, and then try to slide it all back together after we fix it. That was less than entertaining. The boot that used to be there is now here, and I snaked it in through there. We've got, can't see, we've got our black wire here, and we've got our light blue and black there. This whole, if both of these came loose, I'm also trying to rationalize to myself, how did we get this switch to burn up? And I don't have that answer yet. That's odd. It's possible these two could have shorted together somewhere. I mean, they were wrapped in some pretty nasty black tape. Like this stuff is what was there. I'm not exactly sure how they could have shorted together and why it would have caused the switch to short out. I really don't know. I would kind of thought that, if these would have shorted out here, these wires would have got hot. Maybe the breaker would have blown. I'm really not sure. But all that to say, I'm going to clean this up, reconnect them, and then we're going to cautiously check again with our test lot and whatnot, because I want to make sure we don't have any overseen issues coming in. Certainly this is a problem that has to be fixed. It's more than likely our problem, but I'm still just not quite putting the pieces together on how that old switch burned up. Also, I'll say this truck has like 330,000 miles on it or something, so perhaps the switch just was bad. I don't know, but we'll fix this and keep going. Oh yeah, one more thing I thought of. I may have said it in the video, I don't know. But before, when I saw this wiring issue the very first time, the first thing I did was go and pull out that breaker, because I sure as hell don't need live power going here while I'm trying to connect bare wires and stuff inside door panels. But if you're doing circuit stuff like this, make sure you got that circuit off or unpowered or whatever. We got her stitched up. I did have the right wire gauge, did not have the right wire color, so they're both red, but whatever. We got the green heat shrink on the power and the black heat shrink on the ground. We're gonna squirrel her up with some Tessa tape, get our little boots slid back in there, and actually I lied. Now that this is connected, our next first test is going to be make sure we have power and ground at at this connector here. Yeah, let me set you up for that. Right, now, test light is getting hooked on everything. Test light to ground. When it finds power, it should light. So our blue and purple, or blue, black, I can't speak. Oh yeah, we should probably plug in our breaker And in theory, unless we have another problem somewhere, we shouldn't short anything out, because this breaker wire, that blue and black or whatever, should be an open circuit all the way through to that harness that the test light's hanging in. And there's a little LED on the AES Wave. Great kit, man. There's a little LED on the AES Wave fuse breakout. So that LED did not light, which tells me that we should have a complete open circuit through and through. And we don't have any power here. Oh, we probably should turn the key on. And I'm going to watch that LED also to see if it actually turns on. I don't think the LED turned on. I have the keys on. Let's try this again. Boom, power. All right, now let's switch our test light to come from power. So now whenever we find ground, we should light, and the ground should be our black wire right here. If I can get in there on the back side. Boom, nice bright, I hope you can see. Yes, nice bright test light. That's what we did not have before. I think we're ready to do a quick test with the switch. I gotta figure out what I did with it. I threw it in the back seat. Let's go ahead and plug all these girls back in wherever they went. That looks like it might go there. And this looks like it might go there. So those pins are straight in there. This one, I believe, goes there. And now I'll get ready to yank this thing back out if it starts smoking in my hand. But I don't hear anything. It doesn't feel warm. I didn't hear any sparks or feel any sparks. Let's go ahead and can you actually see the driver window? Kind of, sort of, not really. Well, let's just hit the driver window switch. No driver window switch. That's interesting. Okay, passenger window rolls down and up. Right rear window rolls down and up slowly. That girl's hurting. Left rear does not roll down, and I don't hear anything on the up. That's interesting. What in the world? Now this one just moved. Do we have a wire issue? Now I can kind of hear it. I can hear the motor clicking in there. Whoa! Now she's going down. Now she quit. Now she's going. Now she quit. Now she's going. I think we have a wire issue in here? Now it's going down. So that's weird. Now it's work. Nope, there it goes. And I can hear it clicking. Oh, there it goes. We may have a bad motor in here. I'm going to figure out which wires go specifically to this, and I'm going to put a current clamp around this, because every time I hit this button, the window does not move every time. But most of the time, it's like there, I can hear it clicking there, and then it goes. And it always goes up though, but not down, not down, not down. Let's push up again, and it goes up. I think we either got a bind-in regulator or a motor that's getting weak. So I was doing well. I'm going to get an amp clamp hooked up on this old girl, and we're going to see what this current draw looks like on this motor. We may have a bad motor in there. I still don't know why this would have burned up. Still don't have that answer, but we're making progress. Let's test current draw. I know you can't read what we got going on the scope down here, but it's going to have to trust me a little bit. We got our amp clamp running around what should be the driver window motor. Hitting a 0 amps, we're going to hit down. and nothing. So it spikes to 4, but then nothing. Let's go up. Oh, okay, so we'll blow that up. What does this look like? So on that, when I went up, we had a 17 amp spike, but a more or less real load carry of about 10 amps. But when I hit the down switch, we get like a very, very fast, looks like a 4 amp blip. Now I'm questioning this new switch that we've got put in here. I'll tell you what we're going to do next. We should have stuck with my second favorite tool. I have to figure out which way is which. Whatever. We're going to do the test lot and do that same test. So test lot is going to go to body ground and make sure we have power on the test lot. We do have power on the test lot. So now when we hit the down switch, I may have to switch this around because I'm not staring at the diagram I'm not staring at the diagram hard enough to know, obviously, when you change the switch, it's going to change polarity, so we may not have power here, but we'll switch it if we don't. So I'm going to hit the down. We have nothing. Hit up. Okay, so up, we have power on this wire. Down, we need to have the other wire. Our other wire is tan and light blue. We'll leave our amp clamp there because that shouldn't matter because it's a complete circuit. Tan and light blue is right next to it. We're going to touch on that one and now go down again. Boom! Our switch is bad. We should have power coming out of there. Yeah! And now we'll test it the other way. To test this the other way, so this is down, right? I'm hitting the driver down and I get no test light lit till the very end. So we'll take and run this back to power. Run this back to power. So test light's now looking for ground. Apparently it's got ground. And that should stay lit up when I go in the down position. So now down, it stays lit up. Yep, it stays lit up. Did I do that right? Yeah, it stays lit up like it's supposed to. That tells us we got a bad switch. Let's do that again, actually. So now we'll go back to ground. Make sure this finds power when it's supposed to. We do have power there. So now we're back on our tan and light blue. We're going to hit down. Nothing. There it goes. Every time this lights, that motor moves. Nothing. 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 Come on. Nothing. We'll push hard on it. Oh, there it went. I keep letting go of it. Down. Oh, look at that. Back up. We're good. We got a bum switch. Now let's do the same check, though, because remember, front passenger rolls down, right rear rolls down, left rear does not roll down. We need to do the same check on the left rear. And to do that, I got to go apparently find the other half of my diagram. Please hold. Thanks for holding. We've got our diagram complete now and our, come on, passenger side, right rear, left rear power and ground comes from D and E. D and E are gray and orange, yellow, light blue. So D and E, right? Yep, D and E. Gray, orange, yellow, light blue. Let's check those. So we'll do, there's a gray and orange there. Let's move our amp clamp over to gray and orange. Come on, buddy. Oh, yeah. She's stiff in there. Gray and orange. Alright, we are on gray and orange. I think we got a good connection. Let's play our scope again. We have We're zoomed in, gets me every time. Nope, we want 5 seconds. Zero that out. All right, we're on gray and orange. We're gonna do left rear. No change on amperage. I bet you our scope is having issues, or our switch. Not our scope this time. Our switch is having issues. So we are still connected to ground here. So I'm going to search for power, make sure we got good connection. We do have power in one of these positions, this gray and orange. Yeah, I can see the back of the pin. Gray and orange should have power coming through it. So I'm going to hit left rear down. Oh, it lights. Okay, so let's test the other one. D&E, this was gray and orange. Yellow, light blue's next. So yellow, light blue is next, and we're going to have to switch our leads. Yeah, it goes up, so that's sending power. That's kind of odd. Let's jump this back to power. Let's got that there like we did last time. Now let's go back to well, based on that, we have something else going on in the left rear door. Yeah, let's do this way. Where's my T-pin at? Yeah, T-pin hidden in here somewhere. I'm going to go straight across them. What did I do with my T-pin? Please hold. Well, I was going to jump these 2 pins with a test lot. So there's a diode in here that may stop us from working in one direction. So I don't know if that's going to be a great test. I'm going to have to stare through this and come up with a next test to figure out where we're going to go for the left rear. Definitely the switch is bad for the left front, but the left rear is still an unknown right now. I wasn't thinking super clear in the last one, but we can still do this test to test the switch. We don't know what's going on, why the window won't roll down, but right now I have the gray and orange and the yellow and black, which goes to the left rear window assembly, pinned in the switch. And if I hit the left rear down and up button every time that light comes on. So that tells me our switch is good for the left rear, but we've got some other wiring issue for the left rear. We don't know where that's going to be. Likewise, you probably can't see, but if I come back here to the left rear door and I hit the switch on the door, I have no connection, or excuse me, I have no movement on the window from that door. Man, I can't speak right now. At this point, by the time we get this all buttoned up back together, we're going to be getting close on allotted time. What I think I'm actually going to do next is we're going to pop off the switch for the left rear and see if we can just get quick access to testing like we did here back there and see what that looks like. Now we're back here on the left rear. We are on what should be the same gray and orange wire. I got our leads here. I want to make sure that wire has the same checks that we did up there. I guess we could ohm it out, but it won't really tell me if it carries load, which it's a big wire. It probably will. Regardless, we're just going to do the same test and go from here. So that's it. So gray and orange in the neutral position should have ground. So if I touch this, it should just light. It does. Gray and orange in the down position should have B+. In the down position should have B+. So if I connect this, now I'm going to go around the front and I'm going to hit down, that should light. So I'm now hitting down, it lights. Okay, that's a good sign. Actually, that right there pretty well tells us that our wire should be good. I'm just going to finish these out because I suck at all these old school switches. That should have been a good test to tell us that wire's done. We're done with it, but I'm just going to keep going. Just just to be safe. I guess you can skip forward if you don't like it. Next one, in the up position, this gray and orange should have ground in the up position. So I think it's going to light here, but when I click the up position, nothing should change. It should stay lit. It does stay lit. It's up. Cool. Our hot wire, we're done. Now let's do the same thing on our yellow and light blue. And this is, oh wait. So this one's weird. Yellow and light blue. There's two yellow and light blues back here. I don't know why, but the diagram, well, what did I do with it? One of the diagrams I had gave me actual terminal numbers. Please hold. Thanks for holding. Yeah, so there's two yellow and light blues, but one is in a corner pin and one is in pin 3. So I guess so neither one's in a corner pin. Let's see. Oh, wait, I can probably see what the numbers are on here. That's 5, 4, so that one's 3, is 1 empty. 1 is empty. Make sure we have no 1 pin. 1 is not populated here. That's cool. So 5, 4, 3. We want pin 3. Yellow and light blue. This one here. Boom. There's pin 3. All right. Make sure that's still all in frame for you. That's pin 3. We're going to do the same test we did up front again. When our yellow and light blue is in the neutral position, it should have ground, and it does. Well, it did. When I touch red here, it lights, so that's good. Check 1. When yellow and light blue is in the down position, it should also have ground. So now when I go hit the down switch, it should stay illuminated. So we're going to hit down. Oh, it goes out. Okay, make sure I didn't mess that up. Make sure we didn't mess it up. The down position, we should have ground coming through. Yeah, down, yellow, light, blue. Down is ground. We're on yellow, light, blue. We hit down here. Why does that lose power when we go down? Let's assume we're going to have the same switch position. Down should swing to the right. Down swings to the right. This thing has a diode that's circling through. That might not be a right test. We've got a weird diode deal that we're going through. Either way, we can tell right now that, actually, that'll do that. Let's do that. We're going to unplug this, because when we unplug it, right now, really, we're mostly curious about wire integrity. So if we unplug this, we should have the same, maybe I'm making that up now. We should still be able to do the same tests that we were doing up at the front. I don't know, let's try it. Perhaps not. Yellow, light, blue, and neutral position should have ground, and it doesn't. It lost the ground because we're still hooked up here. We lost ground. Dang it! I gotta figure this out. Hang on. I've decided to go ahead and be a little dangerous. We've unplugged this. We're gonna run power to our motor. I guess we could ohm it out too. I'll start with that. I'll be reasonably responsible. First, we'll grab our ohm meter. I got it right here on the toolbox. As I come back, we're gonna ohm out the motor, make sure she's not open, because then at least that tells us we're gonna go, in the door panel or whatever. I think we're probably got an issue in the door panel here anyway, regardless. So we're looking for yellow and black. We've got our yellow and black back probed, and we are looking for yellow, light, blue, pin 6. Yellow, light, blue, pin 6. We do have continuity. We have it's bouncing 0.8 ohms. That seems pretty low. 0.8 ohms. Yeah, it seems a little bit low to me to be going through a motor. Now, we're going to go ahead and be dangerous. just because I want to know. We're going to run straight power and ground through these two right here. I'm just going to just touch on it real quick. That way we don't smoke anything if there is an issue. But we've got our yellow and black. Yep, yellow and black. And then pin 6, yellow, light, blue. Yellow, light, blue is going to touch quickly. Oh, she does go down. Okay, so she's going down. Window's down. Let's reverse the polarity. See if the window goes up. Window goes up. We have no... Ooh, goes up slow there. All right, well, we have no problem down yonder. I got to figure out what's going on with this switch. This diode's throwing me for a loop with this switch. We might have a bad switch back here, too. But wherever I did with that switch, I'm going to have to stare at that switch in the diagram for a bit and try to figure out. Those diodes are kind of throwing me for a loop. All right, I actually think I got it figured out this time. It's been a disaster, I know. But I think we have an open in our yellow and light blue wire. So if you remember, yellow and light blue at the driver front switch, we had all good readings. That goes, so yellow and light blue is E. That goes down here to E. Yellow, light, blue goes through several other connectors. That goes to pin 3. Whoops, can't see. That goes to pin 3, yellow and light blue. Not pin 6, yellow and light blue. We're testing pin 3, yellow, light, blue. Now, because that's a straight wire pass-through, it doesn't matter what I do with the switches. I can unplug this switch and it should be the same, but we got these other connectors that we may have an issue with. So we're just going to touch on here pin 3, yellow, light, blue. And the police are coming apparently. Police running by. So, yellow, light, what is happening outside? Looks like a motorcycle funeral. Okay, so we're on pin 3. Pin 3 should have the exact same as we got on the front door, and in the neutral position it should have ground. Let's switch this. It does have ground, which is interesting, but that could be grounded through something else. Oh no, this is grounding through the master switch. We're good there. We're good there. Yep, okay. Making sense now. Keep following. Now, in the down position, yellow, light, blue. Let's do it this way, because I think that's where our issue lies. We should have the plus when we are in the up position. Yep. So now I want to hit up. That should light up, and it's not. Light up, and it's not. Okay, there it is. I know that was super stupid confusing, but it's supposed to light B plus when in the up position. We're on this wire here. When it switches over left, it's up, and this goes to B plus, and that wire just goes down to there. We have an open circuit on that one wire somewhere between these 2 points. So now, at this point, we're going to be close to our time. I'm going to call the customer, see if this window back here was normally not working, or if we want to go somewhere else and keep messing and figuring out what's going on. We know we got a switch up there for the left front and some sort of open circuit between. Actually, we're going to do that very next. Just our last test here. We're going to open circuit this whole thing. I got the multimeter out. I'm going to open both of these circuits up, so there shouldn't be anything going between them. Get my ohm meter out, and whenever we touch together, we make noises. So we got noises. Straighten these leads out. Back probe pin 3. It's nice and large, cavernous for us to get in there. I don't know if this is going to quite reach, but I'm going to do my best. Nope. I don't know how I'm going to make them reach. I'm going to try to make them reach. Pin 3. Got it tucked in there. I got the lead on the other side here. It won't reach. Oh, it's still pinned in. Hell yeah. Pin. Boom. We have no continuity. We have an open circuit. I'm making contact here on this side. Promise you. Make sure the meter's still on. The meter is still on. Yeah, we definitely still got contact here. It's pinned in it. We have an open wire. All right. I don't know why that was so difficult for me. Maybe it's my first time. Be gentle. That's confirmed right there. We have an open circuit in our yellow and light blue wire somewhere between this switch and this switch. Now we can make a phone call to the customer and see how he wants to proceed. Customer's gotten back to us and he wants to replace his driver window master switch. There may have been a little bit of confusion on the switch. I thought it was replaced, but if we look at the window lock at the bottom there, the white icons or symbols are kind of rubbed off, like it might be old. So we're going to replace that. We fixed the door harness, but we're currently going to forego the open circuit between the driver door switch and the driver front door switch and the driver rear door switch. But I can flip you. I don't remember what we covered here, but we've got our repair in here. We've got a heat shrink butt connector all wrapped up, tucked in with a little bit of extra wire that has run around, so this thing has a little bit of flex room. Then we wrapped everything in Tessa tape, then we wrapped everything in electrical tape, and then we snuck this boot back out and installed her. Now we just got to get the rest of the door panel together. The new switch is on order, and whenever it comes in, we'll just swap it out and it'll be all set. Closing thoughts on the old girl. We got her patched up about as good as she's going to get for now. We got the new door switch on order. We're not worrying about the driver rear window not going down. Door harness is taken care of. But question is, why did this thing break in the first place? Back to our thoughts of we had snow on it for 3 days, and then as soon as they get into it, start driving around, the issue happens where everything stops working. The only thing that I can conclude, just based on what we saw, I don't see any water intrusion issues. I just see circuit connection issues with the windows. The only thing that I can conclude, and this is just pure speculation, I have no clue, but if it happened for sure when it sat for 3 days with all the stuff on it, if we sat for 3 days in real cold weather, we know that wires in cold weather, they just, however they are, they just kind of freeze that way. And based on what we found when we pulled off that boot inside the door harness, that ground wire was already broken off, or I say broken off, but pulled apart in that butt connector. And it didn't take any effort at all for that power wire to slip right out. My speculation, my hypothesis, if you would, is we know wires get stiff when they get cold. This thing sat with the door closed for 3 days in the cold. Those connections in that door were not the greatest. They just weren't. Is it possible that when they opened the door, it just flexed the wires enough to dismount one of those butt connectors? I think it's probable. I think it's possible, definitely, and I'm leaning towards probable. I think that's going to be it. Just because we talked about the water thing, last thing I'm going to do, but won't film me for that, is I'm just going to check sunroof drains on it to make sure those things are kind of brushed out, because we talked about that with the customer. And that's it. That's as close to a fix as we're going to get. We'll get parts coming. Hope this was helpful for somebody. I don't know if it really was, but either way, we'll catch you in the next video.